Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world.
Nobody wants to hear what you said before. Good morning, Dr. Abubakar. How are you this morning? Good morning, Ayo. How are you this morning? Perfect. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, Ajuri.
Perfect. Well, all right. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending. Phrank Shaiubu, special assistant to Nigeria's former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, has slammed the establishment of a new media directorate and the appointment of an additional 5 aides by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, stating the appointments are suggestive that the Tinubu administration is on the verge of unleashing a propaganda unit. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, announced in a statement issued on Monday. Notably amongst the names is Fela Durotoye, the former presidential candidate of the Alliance for New Nigeria Party, who was made the senior special assistant to the president on national values and social justice. While Phrank Shaiubu went further to state that with the latest appointments, President Tinubu now has over 20 media aides, making it the highest in the history of the Nigerian presidency. But, however, noted that not even 1,000 media aides can save the reputation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which he said is currently drowning in scandals. Ayo, only yesterday I took the story of Atiku. Same Phrank Shaiubu, he made a statement saying that, the Tinubu administration is about to gag the media owing to that warning that NBC had issued to Arise News.
Final warning.
The final warning. But, he made a very valid statement there, which is the largest in Nigeria's presidency. Dr. Abati, you were part of that team at one point. Do we really need all of these special aides for the president? I don't want to call out their names at this point, but another person that was trending was Fela Durotoye. Like I said earlier, senior special assistant to the president on national values and justice. Then there's another one, senior special assistant to the president on public engagement. Why do we need all of these aides?
Wow, okay, so, Oji, first of all, shall I say congratulations to the new appointees. I'd said during the last ministerial screening that this wouldn't be the last of appointments, even though they're not ministers, but we still see more appointments, and I won't be surprised if we wake up again tomorrow morning and we have even more appointments. Now, beyond the challenge of the fact that what had been, in light of the current economic reality of the nation, people had called for a leaner government. And we're looking forward to government reflecting the sufferings of the people, the situation of things on ground in terms of poverty levels. Instead, what we've had is actually what has been described as an over-bloated government. For instance, Mr. Phrank Shuaibu pointed out a few things, a few salient points, which are quite correct. Number one is that we have over 20 media aides. Some of them have duplicated roles or replicated roles. What do we need so many SSAs under the same media and publicity directorate? I'm glad that, when I saw some of the new appointments, social justice and values, I would like to see what to justify it would be their job description. Because what we then have, we have so many SSAs that we don't even remember how many, or whose portfolio, or whose duty, or what they'd actually be responding to. So perhaps, one of the things we would like to see would be their job description.
Do you mean for the media aides or for the other?
For the media aides and all of them, especially the media aides. Yes. We have people, so SSA on strategic communication, on public affairs, special, very vague appointments.
Vague. That is
what is their job description? Yes.
Mr. Aliu Awudu, they say he's
for public affairs.
Public affairs. Yes. What does public affairs mean? And then
special duties.
Another thing, special
well,
duties.
he's personal assistant to the president.
But doesn't the president have a personal assistant?
Have you realized that we don't often hear from the Minister of Information? Because there are so many aides, there are so many people under the media and publicity team that maybe perhaps now he'll be looking at the agencies under his ministry. But in terms of salaries, the cost implication of this, the allowances, when they have to travel, ESTA codes, how much it's going to cost us to run this government. I'm quite excited about Mr. Durotoye because he's known to be, very popular with the young people. He has a strong voice, and I advocate for strong communication skills when it comes to managing the presidency. However, there are too many. Over 20 in the current economic climate. Where is the budget going to come from for paying them? How are we going to afford these retinue, except President Tinubu wants to pay out of pocket, which I doubt very much, but too many, functions very vague, duplicating effort, and just seems as if he's just wanting to populate that space. Too many.
Current economic climate.
Yes.
And except President Tinubu wants to pay for it. But, let me take another story, Dr. Badi, so you can discuss both. And this is very important. In the meantime, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's son, Sheyi Tinubu, has come under fire on social media after he was spotted on Sunday, October 8th, reportedly using the presidential jet to travel to Kano to watch the finals of this year's edition of the Kano International Polo Tournament. Eyewitnesses say the presidential jet that conveyed Sheyi Tinubu and his friends landed in Kano around midday on Sunday. He was said to have been received at the airport by some officials of the presidency, the Kano state government, and the Kano Polo Club. While users on social media criticized the president's son for using the jet for a private event, while the London-based Nigerian journalist Jafar wrote this on X. Here is Tinubu's golden child, Sheyi, traveling in a presidential jet to watch polo in Kano. But this trend did not start today. Buhari set the bad example when he allowed his daughter, Hanan, to travel in a presidential jet for a photo tour in Bauchi. Even if our laws are vague on this, one thing is clear. This is an offense to the moral code of leadership. Dr. Bati, our lawyer here.
Well, I think that Jafar is correct. This is clearly a case of abuse of presidential powers. To the best of my knowledge, Sheyi Tinubu is not an official of state. He's not a former head of state. Many are in fact likely to ask, who the hell is he? Because he's the president's son. So even if you are a child of privilege, what I always tell these children of privilege is that why don't you struggle and develop yourself and make a name for yourself instead of just relying on privilege? But what concerns us is the abuse of presidential powers. The son of the president is not qualified in any way to use the presidential jet, any of the jets in that fleet, except, however, there was once upon a time, there was this arrangement whereby you can hire the jet, any of the smaller jets, but you will pay for it, okay? But in this case, it's not clear that he's paying for the use of it, and that this is not the first time that he will use this jet to go on a frolic of his own. It's not as if he's running errand for his father, because the president has powers under the Constitution. He can send somebody on an errand and say, okay, let the jet take it. He was going to watch a polo match. What is that?
Yeah.
And then what even makes it scandalous was that he was received, we were told, when he arrived in Kano, as if he were a state official by government officials, and he was given heavy security, wasting taxpayers' money to protect the president's son. So these are the issues. However, that presidential fleet, is given out with the approval of the Office of the National Security Advisor, because the presidential fleet, that's a security operation. What I know is that, former heads of state, sometimes if they are a trip to somewhere or they are going on an assignment on behalf of Nigeria, it could be released to them. If ministers were being sent on errands, they could use it. Sometimes heads of states of other countries will approach Nigeria if they had a major trip, and Nigeria will say, okay, you can use presidential jet to be approved for them. But to turn the presidential jet into, an Okada that people can be using to go and watch polo, to go and watch table tennis, or to go and visit persons in parts of the country. No, the optics, very bad. At a time when we should be saving resources. And in any case, those security people guarding the son of the president, no, that again is very wrong. Now, that's that about that. What was the other story? The complaint by Phrank Shaiubu.
Phrank Shaiubu.
Phrank Shaiubu, I'm sure he knows very well that the campaign period is over. This is the governance period. He's complaining that the president has appointed some additional media aides. Well, the truth of the matter is that the president of Nigeria can dispense patronage up to over 5,000 positions. I get the argument that, look, we should run a slim government, we shouldn't have too many aides in government. After all, in some states, one governor, did he not appoint almost 100 media aides? We discussed this on the same program.
Yes.
So the example is even replicated in a worse manner in the states. So because of the condition of the country at this time, many of us are likely to be concerned. But it's within the prerogative of the president to put a team together. And President Tinubu will not be the only president that will put a propaganda team together, since that's the phrase that Shaibu used. Now, let me just dial back a little bit. In our time, we also had our own media operation. It wasn't that I was part of the team. I led the team.
Exactly.
When I was there. Now, so we had our own, but we didn't, not everybody was given title. We had a media unit, even outside the villa, where we had people, who provided support system, but they were not given fanciful titles. They just worked for us in the background. So the problem with this is that these persons have been given big titles as if they are state officials. That's one. Under President Buhari, they had what they called the Buhari Media Center. Most of the people that were in that Buhari Media Center, they were just a support team. They were not state officials. They were not called senior assistant, senior special assistant. So, and now, in this case, I don't know whether they still have that kind of backroom team, in addition to all these ones who have been given titles. Shaibu says, okay, 20 special assistants and aides and all of that. Well, it's within the prerogative of the president to get people to assist him to do his work. However, we can complain that, government should save costs, the team should be leaner, and that, we should save resources. But as for Phrank Shaiubu, he's playing politics. He's special assistant to PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
So the question is, what do you expect him to say?
Okay.
He will find every possible fault with the administration. But the president of Nigeria has enormous powers under the Constitution to delegate authority.
All right, Rufai, politics or not, that large cabinet, is that what we need?
It's not a case of playing politics. It's a case of the waste that is going on in this government that my heart can't take. The waste, the unnecessary waste. The waste in appointments, duplication of roles, also the wastes and the frivolousness when people travel abroad and you pack a big entourage abroad. At a time where the country is bleeding and you're telling everybody to tighten their belts, the price of gas now is 1,200 naira per kg. If you want to buy 1,000 liters of diesel now, it's over 1 million naira. I was talking to a friend that told me the other day that he burned 600,000 naira to buy diesel in a week. And you are seeing all of this. These people, the salary scale will not be anything less than 500,000 naira. Just imagine if we convert this money to building schools, to furnishing hospitals, to giving the money truly to the people that need them. And you can see the fanciful titles. All for what? All at a time where our country is bleeding, and our country is bleeding dry. So for me, it's the waste I can't understand. It's this same waste that has that has informed the Senate to tell the president, send us a supplementary budget. You can't just be spending money this way.
Right.
And we can't see anything to show for it. It is also the waste that culminates into the president's son using the presidential jet. But how will he not use it when we had a country of waste, when President Buhari did the same, and everybody keeps violating the government?
Yes, yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Oji, one part that we won't forget in all of this.
Yes.
How will he not use it and turn it into an Okada? This is the same man that his father has a private jet. Why didn't he use his father's private jet?
This is the question.
So that's a big point
Yes.
that people have not even mentioned.
Yeah.
His father has a private jet.
Yes.
Very good jet, a Falcon.
Do you
that we've all
remember?
seen in pictures and all of that. So why didn't he take his father's private
Yes.
jet to use? But it's part of the waste. You see, because state resources can be wasted easily.
Yes.
As long as you are there, you waste as much you can for the 4 or the 8 years you are going to be here. So that's the kind of, so we've built a culture of waste. And the shocking thing, Oji, because me, I'm a man of facts.
Yeah.
Those that are even criticizing him today, when they get to power, they will waste the same way.
This is unfair.
So it's the kind of, you see, Oji, I keep saying this. People don't get me when I say culture we eat strategy for breakfast. We have built a perpetual culture of waste.
So what is that law, Dr. Abati, and why is it so vague? If you remember that, Hanan Buhari had done the same thing, and 3 years ago we criticized her, and nothing was done about that after a while. And we had seen a lot of videos. I don't know if you have that Hanan Buhari video. This is the video. We had seen a lot of videos of the Buhari administration using these public assets for private use.
It's a culture of waste.
Go all the way back, beyond Buhari.
We have Buhari.
Abacha's son also used state assets.
Yeah,
state helicopter.
It's a culture of waste.
But you could say that was under the military, but it's the same thing.
It's exactly.
It's a culture of waste.
But can't these children of privilege, can't they find something to do? I mean, being the son of a president should not be a career.
Seems like
or being the son or the daughter of a governor, that should not be a job.
But some people print cards saying friend to the governor. So if you can print complimentary cards and sit
complimentary cards and say Baba to somebody, how much more this? So I think
it's the culture of
the culture of the impunity.
Yeah, this is what it is. Yeah.
For those that are criticizing them, once they get into, that's why you wrote a piece. I read you a lot of that. You say it's as if there's a demon in the House of Rock. That once people get in there, they lose their sense of consciousness, they lose their sense of mind. But I think that's the question we should be asking this man. I know he's an avid polo player. I've seen him play polo a couple of times. I know he wanted to go see the final. But let's ask him, his father has a private jet. Why didn't he use his own father's private jet? Why did he have to use Nigeria private jet?
Let's take out another story.
The summary of it is that Nigerians will keep watching and they will expect. And next time around, except anybody is on official assignment, they will not use our presidential jet to go and watch
you can't do
table tennis or to go to the market to go and buy Ogbono and Ewedu.
Ogbono and Ewedu, I love that. All right, we'll take another story then. With the onset of the rainy season, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, over the weekend took a tour of Udumagbo Avenue and adjoining areas in Lagos Island that have become an urban nightmare. During the tour, Sanwo-Olu disclosed that the government will begin an urban renewal project in the area by early next year. While in a pair of rain boots, the governor trekked through the waterlogged streets, taking stock of risks posed by the polluted environment and stagnant water.
Ó ti wá débi pé a lè sọ Èkó ìdàkudà. Tẹ́ gbọ́ mi, a lè sọ ojú ti èmi gan. So ọ̀sẹ̀ kan báyìí jẹ́ pé báyìí ṣe ti Sapash jẹ́rí kan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ń bẹ̀. Tẹ́ pàdé níje àti sọ di kíní ọmọ bí a sọ bí ìdí náà nìyẹn. Tẹ́ gbọ́, a máa ro recreation fáwọn ọmọ yín bẹ̀. A máa ro ọjà, a máa fi páàkì sí, a máa fi ICT sí. Ní sọ pé ilé Sanwó-Olú mọ ilé tí ní ṣùgbọ́n oríṣiríṣi kan la máa ṣe síbí.
Well, it's good to see that the governor has taken these steps to try to, help these residents in this area. But this has been going on for a while now, especially that area, Idumagbo. It's been waterlogged for years.
Yes, well, Lagos, it's not new in Lagos State because of the fact that we're a coastal city and especially the way buildings and unplanned buildings that are built without proper authorization. We have issues around drainage, flooding, waterlogged areas. It's the type of city the kind of city we're in. It's good to see the governor go to places, visit places. I think we must commend him for that in terms of showing that he's in touch with the people. But beyond that is that we want to see action. Yes. When I saw the video, I was going to say action, governor. But beyond the praise of him and the pictures and the optics, which look good, I must admit that, is that we want to see commensurate action so that the next time we go to Idumagbo, we're not looking at another waterlogged area because of, for photo opportunities or for pictures. What's the government's plan to support the people of Lagos, especially with responding to flooding and waterlogged areas? Second thing I must say, every time we have an opportunity to speak about this, is there are issues in Lagos that are very obvious beyond these pictures. Fix our roads.
Yes.
The rain has come, there's flooding expected. It would make the road condition worse. Let the governor, he doesn't have to go to these places. All he needs to do is to say the word. There's a story about, don't worry, I know I'm a commander myself. You don't need to come there. Just say the word. We don't need him to go there. It's good if he says the word and he fixes the problems. Let the action speak louder than just him moving there. Let the outcome, let the benefits, let the better roads, better housing speak louder for him than his visitations to these places.
All right, well said, Ayo. We'll take our final story. Well, it's the power of the internet. German social media users have been able to identify one of the Hamas men who murdered Shani Locke, the 30-year-old German-Israeli woman whose lifeless body was paraded naked around Gaza on the back of a truck. The killer, Mahmoud Abu Jila, was identified thanks to having uploaded a number of pictures to his Google phone account, which shows him wearing the same polo shirt, pants, and sandals that he wore in the infamous video with him holding Shani's hair. Well, according to a Lithuanian news source, Visgard, most of the pictures uploaded on his phone's Google account have tagged locations 15 kilometers where Shani was attacked. First of all, my heart goes out to all those people that have died in Israel, in the bank of Gaza as well. I mean, over 700 people have died in reprisal attacks, 600 in the Hamas attacks. These terrorists went on that peaceful festival. It was a festival for peace to drag out this 30-year-old girl and a ton of others that have been killed in this atrocious way. I hope this man gets the highest, pays the highest reward for this crime, this atrocious crime that he's committed, and the rest of them, the rest of the gang, really.
So it's really very sad, and when it comes to Israel and Palestinian matter, it's always very sad, because, hey, nothing will bring back the way the woman was mutilated and the way she lost her life, which is very sad. It was a music festival, it was a holiday, it was a holiday and this music festival.
Festival for peace.
And a lot of people were killed, about 260 people, and the way the woman's body was mutilated is quite sad. But also, that's the power of social media. That's the power of the internet.
Yes.
To be able to pinpoint people that have perpetrated very heinous crime. And I'm sure the authorities in Israel have been able to get all those markings down. And, it's so sad what has happened, but definitely they will be able to use that for their investigation and nail people like that. It is quite very sad. The loss of life, mutilating anybody's body is highly reprehensible in any way, shape, or form. But it shows the internet doesn't forget, because that was posted on a Google phone, and it was backed up, and they had geotagging and geolocation, and that brought out the truth.
The internet has come to the rescue, Dr. Bati.
Well, you see, in a war situation, it's always the case that you have casualties, non-combatants, protected civilians, persons who should not suffer. And that is why, since World War II, every effort has been, Akiyemi was making the point, that look, there's a problem with humanity, and we all bear the cost at one level or the other, because our world, despite of every effort to enthrone peace, continues to fail us.
Well said, you all. I'd like to thank you all. Your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.